guys, what is up? It is I, James Penrose, here for video 134, I believe it is, or 133 on my channel. Welcome to my next video nonetheless. And as you can tell from the title down below of this video, you know what this video is going to be on. And quite honestly, this is something I should have done like constantly every time on my channel. I used to do it when I started out. And then I took a good break from doing these videos because I was just mainly focusing on wrestling without going outside the box on my channel. Well, I'm going to be doing that in this video, like I should have done a while back. The last episode review of The Simpsons, that I'm going to be doing today. The last one I ever did was the review of the 26th season, the season premiere of season 26 of The Simpsons, you know, being a big pile of shit, that it was the biggest disappointment, that Rabbi Kristofsky died, that, you know, it wasn't anything special when they made it out to be special. Well, these Simpsons episodes reviews are coming back starting today on this video, and this episode is going to be coming from season 2, and this is actually the first episode of season 2, if you guys didn't know, and it's entitled Bart Gets an F. Now, this is one of my favourite episodes of the season, and how I go about these episodes reviews is pretty much I tell the story from... I'm going to try and make it as brief as I can, because I don't want to, like, drag this video out too long. I'm going to talk about the story, the plot, you know, what character was, you know, going on in what part of the episode, and pretty much I'll just give an overall conclusion. I mean, you can't have an episode review without going about the story. So basically, how this episode starts out is pretty much Bart is, well, we all know this by now, Bart is pretty much a hellraiser in school. He's pretty much the badass 10-year-old kid who pretty much doesn't give a shit. And this episode kind of solidified it at the start, where pretty much he's, bottom line, he's failing at school. He's pretty much in class, in work, he's pretty much going downhill. In the last, like, exam that he did, it was pretty much like an F and an F and an F. The day before he actually skived off school, he calls Milhouse and he says, "Oh, what did I miss off school?" And, you know, he's like, "Oh, nothing much." And then Bart's like, "Oh, how did that test that I missed go? Piece of cake, right?" Milhouse pretty much gives him the answers, which we all know were false, because Milhouse is just as bad as Bart, we all know. Bart didn't really know that. He was like, "Okay, these answers are a piece of piss, I'm just going to write them down." He wrote them down. He's like, what's the answer to number 1? Okay, I'll write that down. Number 2? Write that down. Number 3, and so on and so on. And when it finally got to the result of test day, it was pretty much, you know... Well, actually, before all this even started, by the way, at the start of the episode, it shows that everyone had to give a book report out. And it starts out when you show of Martin pretty much giving his story of a book. I don't know what it was called, but it was only a brief 10 seconds of him doing that. And, you know, the teacher's praising him. "Oh, that was brilliant, Martin, that was brilliant." And then Miss Krabappel's like, "Oh, you know what, I believe we have time for one more. Bart Simpson, is your book report on Treasure Island ready?" And Bart, inside, he was probably thinking, "Oh, shit, I'm not prepared." But outside, he was telling Mrs. Crabapple, "Is it ready? Fellow students, prepare to be blown away," and all this. And he's like, "Well, as you all know, the book that I'm reporting is Treasure Island. And it's about these pirates with shiny gold teeth and parrots on their shoulders." And that was pretty much the point where Bart didn't have a clue what to say. You could tell the classmates are like, "What the fuck's this guy on about?" And he just gave a brief conclusion. So in conclusion, I give this book a 9 out of 10, and Miss Krabappel's like, "Did you even read the book, Bart?" And she's like, "Oh, see you after class." And it led from there. And then when it got to the test day, you know, where he skived school and everything, the next day he just completely wrote the answers that Milhouse gave him. Bart's like to Mrs. Krabappel, "You know what, Mrs. Krabappel? I think you'll be pleasantly surprised." Hands the paper over, and as we all know, marks them all down incorrect. And she's like, "You know what, this is worse than Milhouse's exam." How ironic, right? And she's like, "You know what? I warned you, this is the final straw." Of course, it was an F. And what happened after that was, Mrs. Krabappel, Bart and his parents, Homer and Marge, gathered together with a meeting in school with some guy, I don't know, the controller. No, it's not the controller, but some guy who, like, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but in all honesty, he came there and he said, "Oh, well, every other student in the class has shown some form of improvement now and then, but yet you're the only one that continues to struggle." And he asked about the question, "Why is that?" He's like, I don't know. And he's confused, the parents are confused, they don't know what's going on. So the guy says, "Oh, well, my recommendation is for Bart Simpson to repeat the 4th grade." And Bart's reaction was, "No fucking..." Well, he didn't say fucking, obviously, it's a PG show, but he said, No, you can't hold me back, I'll do better, I promise." And he's going on and on to the point where he's like, "You know what, I'm not taking this anymore. You look into my eyes, I swear I'm going to do better. You can see the contempt, see the fear, see the passion. I can pass the 4th grade." And he's saying that so convincingly, or at least that's what we think. I mean, Homer and Marge don't I don't know if they bought it. I mean, Homer didn't buy it, obviously, he wasn't taking it seriously. He's like, oh, and if you don't, it won't be all that bad. And so after that, it got to the point where Bart Simpson, he's trying everything in his power to pretty much, get that pass, well, at the end we know what he got, but before then he's trying everything he can. And there's this one scene where he's reading the books, he's studying, and it got to the point where he's only on the first chapter, and he's like, on September 22nd, blah, 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 and yeah, it just like that, he fell asleep pretty much. Home and Marge walk in, and Marge is like, oh, the little tiger tries so hard. Why the hell does he keep failing? Even then, they still don't have a clue. But later on in the episode, Bart is trying harder, and it got to the point where, just as he's starting to do a little bit of something, Marge is like, Bart, I'm sorry, but it's past your bedtime, and Bart's like, oh, sugar, this is pointless. And then what he does, just before he goes to bed, he silently prays with no one else watching, or at least that's what he thinks. He's like, dear God, I haven't been the best kid of all, but if I don't go to school tomorrow, I'll fail the test and be held back. Honestly, I just need one more day to study, Lord. I need your help. And Lisa's listening into the background, and she says, prayer, the last words of a scoundrel. Something like, I think that's what she said, something along the lines of that. But keeps on praying. A snowstorm, a blizzard, anything that I cancel school tomorrow. I know it's asking a lot, but if anyone can do it, you can. Yours sincerely, Bart Simpson. That was his prayer before he went to bed. And we all saw this coming. Immediately after he went to bed, it fades in from the view outside the Evergreen Terrace, and we see snow falling down. Bart wakes up, and he's like, oh, shit, school, no. Obviously, he doesn't say it as well. It's just how I'm describing it. And Marge goes, wake up, look at the snow. And Bart's like, oh, yes, get in. And that was the cool point, to the point where we all knew Bart was going to get his wish that he prayed for. Because his prayers were answered, obviously, from beforehand. So he wakes up, everyone goes downstairs. Homer finds out on the radio show, because they were all listening in, that he was going to be off work, and it goes on to the facts of the radio station showing, oh kids, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Schools all around Springfield are closed, and it was snow day for everyone, and it was fantastic. And just as Bart was like, get in, school's out, and he goes outside, at least that's what he wanted to do, go play out in the snow, Lisa stops him in his tracks and goes on to what I said before. She was listening in the prayer. She was like, I heard you last night, Bart. You were praying for this, and now you've got your wish. So it basically, the best message of what Lisa was saying to Bart was, yo, you've got your wish. You wanted one more day to study, and that's what you've been given. So if I were you, I'd do that. Otherwise, you're not owing God jack shit. You prayed for this, and now you owe him big. And Bart was like, you know what? You're right, Lisa. I asked for a miracle, and I got it. I got to study, man. And shit, is it raining outside yet? But back to the episode review. Bart goes up into his room. He's convincing himself, I'm not missing out. It's just one day. It's a snow day. How big can it possibly be? And while Bart's watering his plants, about to get ready to study, that's when we look out at all Springfield, and that's pretty much where they're all having fun. Homer and Mr. Burns are having a snowball fight. I think it's funny with Mr. Smithers getting in the act. And Mayor Quimby announces to Springfield, I declare this day to be snow day, the funniest day in the history of Springfield. And everyone sings along, and they're all getting together, and Bart's the only one that's not a part of that. And he's like, no, the hell with that, gotta study. So he goes down, he goes up to the attic, I believe, in a place where he's not, or in the basement, where he's not distracted and everything, and he continues reading the books to study, pretty much, and his voice, he was confident in what he was saying, and as it faded into the part where he was reading, so it was like a reenactment type of thing, where the guy's like, oh, hey everyone, it's snowing, in the middle of July, and they all go outside, they play out in the snow. That's pretty much like reminding Bart of what he's missing out on as he's studying, because it's snow day and everyone else is off work and school. And Bart's like, concentrate, man, concentrate. I don't know why I'm slapping myself, but nonetheless, you get the gist of it. I know, that was stupid, ow. But it gets to the fact of the ending of the episode, where we see a cutout and a fade out and a fade in, a sharp fade out and a fade in, to where Bart's slapping himself in the attic, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's still slapping himself, but in class. And he's like, oh, I'm in class now. Oh, shit, I didn't realise the test was starting. That was his reaction, pretty much, even though it's not what he said. And it goes down to the fact of Mrs. Crabapple telling Bart, you know what, Bart, class is over. You're the only one in the house. Not in the house, but in school. And pretty much just hand your paper over, Bart. It's over. And Bart goes down to the fact of saying, oh, well, you know what, you might as well just mark this now. Can you please mark this now? Miss Crabapple marks it, and she breaks the news that It's 59 points, Bart, so it's another F. And she's like, oh, another year together, it's going to be hell. And Bart, right there, in that moment, breaks down in tears. And that's when we all sympathise with Bart. So does Miss Crabapple in a way. He's trying to convince Miss Crabapple, you know, I tried this time so hard. Normally I didn't, but this time I really worked my ass off. And still failed. And Mr. Crabapple's trying to console him. You know what, 59, that's a high F. It's a high F. And it doesn't really work. But then all of a sudden, something that Bart said really struck the teacher's, you know, brain and their eyes. Basically saying, oh, now I know how George Washington did this, you know, in 19 whatever. And she looks at the books and she goes, oh my god, Bart, you're right, and everything. You just demonstrated applied knowledge, and because of that, I'm going to add an extra point to your exam. It's only fair. And that's when it hits Bart. I passed? And she's like, oh, just barely. So, and that was the moment. Bart actually passed, got a D-, and his reaction, that was the funniest part of the episode, in my opinion. His reaction to getting a D-. He kissed the teacher, pretty much went running around all around the school. He's like, I passed, and I kissed the teacher. And Homer hangs Bart's D- on the wall. He's like, we're proud of you, boy. And it ends right there on a happy, good note, as always. And that's pretty much what I like about these Simpsons episodes. They always end on a good note. I know it might be predictable what the ending's going to be, but you know what? It's entertaining to watch. And this episode was definitely entertaining to watch. So overall, great episode. I like how, at times, where you actually thought it could end with... I mean, obviously, it's going to end good no matter what, but... There were points where I thought, is it really going to end with Bart getting an F and nothing else? Like, they wouldn't do that. It had to end somewhere else, and I'm glad they did that. So overall, this was a great episode to start off Season 2 back in, I believe it was 1990, where it originally aired, because, or 1991, because the first ever episode of Season 1 aired in 1989. And that was the first episode of the first season. So, yeah, other than that, guys, I'm pretty much just going to end this video off by saying thank you guys for watching the Simpsons episode review. I'm going to be doing more of these to come. If I missed some spots, leave your comments down below. Tell me what I missed and what you liked about the episode. Doesn't matter which part it is, I'll discuss it with you if you want me to. So other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Alex Wilkinson, Connor Kenway for all their great videos. The links will be down in the description if I remember to put it in. Sometimes I forget. And yeah, other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm James Penrose. All I can say is, peace out, my brothers.